This neighborhood may look perfectly safe, but it's not. A silent radioactive killer could be lurking inside as many as half of these homes.
Colorless, it's odorless. You can't detect it with your senses.
In every neighborhood in Colorado, the risk is there.
It's happening right now in the room around us, right now, inside your lungs right now.
And if you don't protect your home, the consequences could be deadly for you or your family.
It causes more, fatal cases or deaths per year than the sum total of all the other environmental things that we are concerned about.
What is this elusive killer, and what can you do about it? Stay with us as we expose the truth about radon, the invisible killer.
It's coming from the gravel that underlies your home or the soils that underlie your home. In some places it comes from the bedrock that's underneath that.
Radon is almost impossible to detect.
It's colorless and odorless, so you can't see it, smell it, taste it.
It sounds harmless enough, and it would be, except for one little thing. Radon is radioactive.
EPA classifies radon as a Class A carcinogen, which means they have direct confirmed evidence that it does cause cancer.
It is the primary cause of lung cancer in people who don't smoke.
Radon is a cancer-causing radioactive gas that's rising out of the ground right now. And as it rises, it could be making its way into your home. Radon is formed as part of the natural breakdown of uranium in rocks and soil. Here in Colorado, radon is of heightened concern because of the geology of the Rocky Mountain West. In fact, the radon content of our rocks and soil is so high, the Environmental Protection Agency ranks Colorado as 7th among the U.S. states for radon risk. Homes in 12 Colorado counties are at risk of having worrisome radon levels, while the homes in the other 52 counties are at risk of having dangerously high radon levels.
But it's at a high likelihood that there is radon gas in many homes in Colorado.
No matter where they've looked or measured radon throughout the country and all different types of geology, they've always been able to measure a certain amount of radon. So it's not a question of whether I have it or not, it's a question of how much do I have.
And radon doesn't just rise up into your home. Because of a natural vacuum between the foundation and the soil, it actually gets sucked in and is pulled up through every level of the home, through the tiniest openings. Cracks in the foundation or gaps around the plumbing. Crawl spaces are especially dangerous because of the amount of exposed dirt. But even having a basement with a concrete floor isn't enough to stop radon. If enough radon is sucked into the home over a long enough period of time, everyone in the home is at risk of developing lung cancer. All it takes is breathing in air that's contaminated with high levels of odorless radon gas.
If you have radon in a room and you have radon in the air, it's very unstable and it breaks down to other elements. We collectively call those radon decay products. So when you breathe in radon and the radon decay products. When you exhale the radon. And the radon decay products stay in your lungs.
As the decay products break down even further, they release tiny blasts of radiation called alpha particles.
Those are the things that hit the lung cells that cause the lung cancer. It's estimated that an alpha particle can travel through about 5 or 6 lung cells on the average. And in doing so, it damages those cells.
It's the damaged cells and damaged DNA that can then mutate and form a cancer.
And that's especially alarming because lung cancer is one of the deadliest cancers of all. The Surgeon General estimates more than 20,000 people die each year of lung cancer caused by inhaling radon decay products in their homes. 350 of those deaths happen right here in Colorado. Many of those lung cancer victims had never smoked a single cigarette.
Radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. And among non-smokers, it is the leading cause of lung cancer.
For non-smokers, radon exposure is almost as dangerous as smoking. And it's more likely to cause lung cancer than exposure to secondhand smoke. And for smokers, radon exposure is a double whammy.
Smokers double their risk of getting lung cancer by both smoking and being exposed long-term to radon.
radon-induced lung cancer claims more lives than drunk drivers. It kills 5 times the number of people who drown each year, and more than 7 times the number of people who die each year in home fires. Despite the overwhelming evidence, many people are able to ignore the risks of radon because lung cancer develops slowly over decades of exposure. And during that time, there are no symptoms to signal that anything is wrong.
When you get to the point of actually knowing that you have lung cancer, by that time, it's too late.
That is, unless you test your home for radon. Radon test kits like these are the only way to know for sure whether you're being exposed to harmful radon in your own home. The EPA recommends testing for radon every 2 years, even if you've tested it before and haven't had a problem.
It's very house specific because the radon only comes from directly beneath and right around that home. Because of that, and because how inexpensive it is to test a home for radon, we recommend that all people test their home.
Says, test result is 7.1. Okay, that's not good.
The air outside averages about 0.4 picocuries per liter and is not considered to be a significant health risk. A rating of a little over 1 picocuries per liter is the average for inside air and is no cause for alarm. At 2 picocuries, the EPA says you should consider fixing your home. And if your radon level is 4 or higher, the EPA says fix it. At 7.1 picocuries per liter, Jeanette and Jerry's test came in nearly twice as high as the EPA action level of 4 picocuries per liter. No matter how high the radon level is in a home, the problem can be fixed in about a day by installing a radon mitigation system. And the cost is surprisingly low. Radon mitigation systems vary based on the size and type of home, but they all work by overpowering the natural vacuum under the home to vent the radon safely outside.
So it's really a function of the foundation of how it's done, but it all revolves around creating a vacuum that's larger than the vacuum created in the soil.
The most common method and the one that's been found to be most effective is what's called subsoil depressurization or active soil depressurization.
Active soil depressurization may sound complicated, but it's really quite simple.
You drill a hole through the slab, you put in a fan, and you vent it out the top of the house or the side of the house.
The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment provides a list of certified installers who can do the work for you.
Retest that property certainly after you put the system in, and then once every 2 years thereafter.
And it's not just older homes that need to be tested and mitigated for radon. New homes are just as likely to have high radon levels if they're built over a source of radon gas. That's why some builders are choosing to install radon mitigation systems in new homes while they're still under construction.
We're just, taking care of it now. It may never be a problem. It may, be smaller than what the EPA allows. It may, never be an issue, but we're just taking care of it, ahead of time.
It's a growing trend in Colorado, and radon mitigation systems are actually required in new homes in the city of Fort Collins.
There is no radon police that's going to come around and write you a ticket if you've got high radon in your homes. But it's a recommendation, and it's based on good, solid science, and I urge everybody to test their home. It's cheap, it's inexpensive, and the fix is not that expensive.
We certainly don't try to scare people. We try to give them the honest story. Here's the risk. Here's the other kinds of risks you have in your life. Is this a risk you want to accept for you and your family or not?
The risk is lung cancer, and that's kind of a big risk that I certainly don't want to take.
My wife and my kids, they mean everything to me, and so, and this is so simple. It just makes sense to do it, to protect them.
Jeanette and Jerry are very glad they tested their home.
Well, there's nothing to doing the tests. They're pretty, it's very easy to do.
They're going to call in a certified mitigator to fix their home. Jerry's father died of lung cancer, so he wants to be sure their home is safe.
Lung cancer is so terrible when the way it takes you, and it's a prolonged, agonizing death, and I don't want that to happen to me.